Okay. So you're here with me, then it's a good evening. How are you? Is everything okay?
Oh,
Hi.
okay.
Okay,
Hi.
good. Hello. All right, so that's good to know, then I'm going to start the class, okay? Let's
Okay.
begin. Today we have to cover some presentations. I believe they are going to be easy because one of them is going to be a review that we already worked on. This is pretty simple, so we're going to be covering them, all right? If we have to finish these presentations in 10 minutes or less, we're going to do it because we're going to take the advantage and we're going to work some extra things if we get to finish the presentations before the time that we got. So this is the first one, ability. As always, please, Danita, I like to ask what you know about it. So what can you tell me about ability? You know that each model can be used in many different tenses. You have the present, the past, the future. So what do you know about those variations for ability? How do you use it in present? How do you use it in past? And how do you use it in future? Let me know, please, what you know.
Okay. Ability. Well, the models that I usually know that we use is or are can, could, and able to those, and you use could for possibility abilities, and you use be able with all the other scientists. And yes, I think that's the something I can say about that.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Yes, you have that over there, and that's correct. Let's then reinforce because what you got again is good. Can be for present or future, but mainly for present. Could for past, as you said, very good. And be able to, yes, it can be used for present, for past, for future, but mainly it is going to be future because that's the only way to say can in future, right? We never say I will can. Some people say that, but no, it's impossible, right? So the only way to say future ability, or real future ability, is with be able, right? Be able to. But again, as you said, it can be also for present, it can be also for past. So very simple. Let's just reinforce that. And that lesson is going to be covered because we know the information about it. So again, right, can, could, be able to. We know the formulas always with the base verb, right? If we have a model, we have to use the base verb. So can, we also know this. This is for present or future ability. You have over there some examples. So right now, only by speaking, please, Danitza, tell me some abilities that you got. All right, tell me 2 or 3 things that you can do. What do you say?
I can swim, and I can um, play guitar, and I can I don't know read. I don't know if those are abilities or I can count like
All right.
abilities.
Okay, in that one, just the second one. Let's repeat the second idea, please. What was your second example?
Uh, I
It was related to a musical instrument.
yes, play. Yes, I can play.
What was the complete example?
I can play guitar.
In that one, right? That's going to be a mistake because in
Mm.
musical instruments, you always use the article the. All right?
Uh,
Always. So it's going to
okay.
be the guitar. Because if you, in English, if you only say I play guitar, that's incorrect. All right? I
Yeah.
play the guitar. And also in the stress, right? Where do you put the stress in that word, in the instrument? Is it in the first part or in the second part?
Guitar and the last part.
Okay, guitar. Yes. Yes, good. Guitar. Yes, I can play the guitar. That's it. Okay, few details. Now, past, easy. The same, please, Danny. You're going to give me things, at least two things, and if you can, three things that you could do in the past. Here you have some examples, very similar, but in your case, I'm going to ask you to change those examples, right? We cannot repeat the first ideas. We're going to say some other things that we could do in the past. And again, not always abilities like playing, let's say, the piano. You can say also some things that you could do because of your age, because of the opportunities that you had at that time, all right,
Mm,
or you didn't have. So what do you say? What are some things that you could do, or perhaps that you couldn't do in the past?
mm, I couldn't get a good grade score.
And when, in that case, when we use could, it's always a good idea to say when, because remember that could can be future or it can be past. So to make clear what this is, it's always a good idea to have a time reference. So what do you say? When was that possible?
When I don't know, I have around 21 years.
Uh-huh. Instead of had, right, it's going to be when I was, right? When I was around 21 years old,
Okay.
right? Okay, so one more time, please. Let's repeat one more time the whole idea.
Okay. I couldn't get a good score on my, on my grade exam
Mhm.
when I was around 21, 22. When I
Okay.
was,
Yes, when I was 20 or 22 years old, right? Or around 20, 21, 22, or about, right? Yes, it is correct. That's one thing. One more thing, please. Something else that you could or you couldn't do at a specific period of time in the past.
mm, mm, I could change my, I don't know, my, I mean, this, I could, I could change my mind about my career when I was starting the university. Could be.
Yes, in that one, again, remember that here you're going to talk about it's not only abilities, right? But it can be abilities, things that you were able to do in the sense that you had the opportunity, right? So if you believe that that's something that you can say that in that way, it is good, right? I can mention some extra examples. You can say, for example, when I was younger, I could, right, go out more often, or I could do this and this because I didn't have responsibilities, right? I could spend the night dancing outside without coming back. So you can mention some things that you could do because you had the opportunity, because it was possible at that time, right? But actually, something that you were able to do, that you could do. But if you're talking about a regret, um, Danitza, if that's more of a regret or a past possibility, then this is not the best option. In that
Okay.
case, you are going to use perfect model. That is, for example, I could have chosen something different, or I could have done something else. All right, that's for past regrets or past possibility. But this is not for past possibility. This is only for past ability or for past things that you were able to do and you actually did them or you didn't do them, but you have to go straight to the point. So I don't know which one is closer to your idea, Danitza. Is it this type of ability or is it the past possibility with the perfect model?
The past possibility.
The past possibility, right? And we're going to get to that. Right now, you can try to give me, or yes, you can try giving me that, but let's try to change first. What extra example can you give me using this logic here without using the past possibility?
Mm, I could mm, um, ask for um, the recommendations or letters about recommendations um, to apply at different jobs. I don't know.
Yes.
I think that is something like a regret too.
Yes, if you're thinking of something, Danitza, that you didn't do and you're saying I
Yes,
could,
yes.
then that's
Uh-huh.
regret.
I
Uh-huh.
didn't do it.
Right?
Why I
Here it
didn't
has to
do?
be something that actually you did or you didn't do, but you're not talking about something that you wish were different. You're talking about something that really happened or really didn't happen. Okay, it's very straightforward.
I don't know. Um, I think
But try
I
to
made
think
it
of some.
disappear.
Yes, try to think of things. Right now, for example, try to think of the things that changed. What are some things that you could do in the past that you cannot do now? And then it's because of time, because of responsibilities, because you change your mind. But again, not in the sense of regret, only in the sense of saying, yes, I was able to do that in the past. Okay, so you're telling me things that you could do, that you were able to do, not regrets, right? Not things that you want to change. You're only informing. Perhaps you didn't want that, but that's not the intention of your idea. Okay, again, I can say something, right? I can say, I'm going to make this up. Okay, it's not real, but I can, this is going to be an example. I can say, when I was younger, I could play video games all day, right? But now I cannot because actually, right, I don't have the time to do it, right? So in that case, I'm not saying regret, I'm not saying anything. I'm just describing an ability or something that I was able to do in the past, but not now. It's not possible, right? So with that logic, what do you say? What are things or what is something that you could do in the past or that you couldn't do? But again, you're just informing, you're reporting. You are not saying that you want to change that.
Yeah, you are reporting. You can make. Mm, mm, mm. Well, I think I have an idea. I don't know I don't know, about 5 years ago, I could sleep for about 5 4 hours, and that was enough for me to uh, work uh, and make things with good energy. Nowadays, I need my 7 hours of sleep.
Okay. Okay, good. Yes, that's perfect. That's a perfect example. Then it's a could, only could in past is for that. All right. For the other ideas that you had, it's a different structure. I'm going to show you a little bit about that now, but it's not today's lesson. Okay. But I'm going to show you something about it.
Mm,
But that's the idea. The example that you just gave me, that's the logic that you have to follow for this could. All right. You're only telling me something that you could do in the past, not regrets, not things that you want to change. You are not talking about hypotheses. No, you're just talking about something that you could do, and that's a very good example. Mhm. So let me know. It's important that that is clear. All right, we're going to cover again past abilities later on, though those are called perfect models. But what do you say? Do you have questions about could for possibility?
yes, I have for cook in a, like you said, as a reporting way. I think I can do. But when you use couldn't in negative with negatives, you could. Can you give me one example, please?
Yes, yes, for possibility couldn't is the same. All right, you don't have to worry about it. It can be the opposite. then it's you can use a very similar example to yours, and I can give you my example as well, right? I can say, for example, um, mm, okay, I can say this, all right, in the I don't know, right? A few years ago, or actually, I can say when I was a teenager, I couldn't spend a lot of time at home, right? I got anxious, or I used to get anxious, and I needed to go out. But now, actually, to me, it's pretty easy to be at home every day, and actually, I feel more comfortable being here. All right, so I'm talking about something I couldn't do, which was spending time here at home. All right, so once again, I couldn't spend time here at home because I felt pressure, I felt anxious, right? Or I felt anxious, and it was very, let's say, uncomfortable for me. That's why I needed to go out to, again, perhaps get entertained or blah, 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 blah. All right, I can say many things. But if you analyze that, it's the same logic. I'm just reporting, I'm just telling you something that I was not able to do in the past. And perhaps now I can do it. I don't know. But I'm just saying that in the past, it was not a thing that I could do. All right. And perhaps one more, and then you try to give me one in past. I can say, yes, imagine, okay? Imagine I was going to the gym. I'm still going to the gym, but we have some changes, right? And I can say, last year I couldn't lift, I don't know, right? 20, 30 kilograms. But now I can do it. To me, it's easier now. All right. So it's something that I couldn't do in the past, right? Lifting a certain weight, but now I can do it because it changed, and so on and so forth. All right, so the same idea, visualize. I'm not regretting anything, I'm not trying to change anything. I'm just informing you, I'm reporting what is something that I couldn't do, and perhaps now I can do it. But my main idea is not that change. My main idea is that in that past, I couldn't do it. All right, so with that logic, then it's, I don't know if that's clear. First, let me know, please. If it is, give me please one example. If not, let me know the questions that you got.
Yes, the example was clear, but I think I can made up my mind to try to give you an example. Okay.
Just try to think in anything, right? It doesn't have to be real, and perhaps it doesn't have to make a lot of sense, perhaps, at least if it's grammatically right, correct, we're good, right? Don't try to think of something too close to your life. Perhaps you can think of things that you don't do, but yet you can relate with this example. All
Yeah.
right, so anything that you have in mind.
Oh yeah. When I was a teenager, I couldn't eat um I don't know, dairy products like
Okay, well, one more time please.
milk.
What is the verb that you're using there after couldn't?
Eat.
Okay, good.
Okay. Um, because I at the time I had like acne. I don't know if I say that, acne in my face. So now I can, because I don't have that problem now.
Yes, that's good. Again, if you think of that, it is perfect. Yes, something that you couldn't do because of a limit that you had, but now you can do it because it's good for you, right? It's not going to cause the same effect. So, yes, that's great. All right, so I don't know if you have any other questions about could. Let me know, please.
About cook, no, that I think that I got it.
All right, very good. Now, again, don't worry about the other one. We are going to get to see perfect models, okay? Perfect models or past models. With past models, we can express the ideas that you were saying. Then it's okay. I could have chosen something else. I should have taken right that. I should have done it differently, or I shouldn't have said that. So regrets, criticizing things about the past that we want to change, or actually, even if we don't want to change, but we feel that it was not the best idea. And we
Yeah.
are just in the shower, right? Saying, I shouldn't have said that, right? And we're always regretting and regretting as human beings. But that's with past models. All right.
Okay.
With this one, not yet. We're going to see that. Don't worry, that we have a specific lesson for that one. Now, be
Uh,
able to. Yeah, tell me then.
can I ask you for I have to say one more. Can I ask you for myself? Um, well, when I express the ideas, I usually, especially with the connectors, and yes, connectors like to, at, on, in, I usually use them in the not usually, I naturally just only use the words, but I would really like if you can make, how can I say, hincapié,
Mhm.
and tell me, just if the connector it's okay. I know that would be for you just a little, no sé, no sé si muy tedioso, but for me that would be really helpful because I will know that I am using those connectors in the best in the way that are supposed to be used.
Okay, yes, yes, don't worry. Actually, I'm paying attention to all the details. If I see that the mistake is not a big deal, sometimes I don't say anything. But in those ones, those are not going to be connectors, all right? Those are going to be prepositions. But I'm going
Prepositions.
to tell you. Don't worry. If I notice something weird, because you know, Danita, sometimes you can use more than one preposition in one situation. And it
Mhm.
depends on what you are saying and what you want to say. If you say I'm in the hospital or at the hospital, both are
Yes.
okay, right?
Mhm.
Both are correct, but it depends what's the meaning that you want to give me. And if you're just saying something and I don't have that detail, so both can be okay, I'm not going to say anything. All right. So
Mhm.
if I notice that you're using one of the possibilities and it works in a certain way, I won't say anything. All right. But of course, if I notice that you're using that preposition in an incorrect way, I'm going to give you that feedback. Okay, not only in writing them, because as you were able to see in writing, I'm going to check every detail, but I'm also going to do that in speaking as well. All right.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, no worries. I'm going to pay attention to all the details then, and I'm going to be picky with that. All right. Okay, good. Now you're welcome. Bless you. I think you. All right. So let's continue, Danitza. This is be able to. This is for the three tenses that we got. The same logic, right? We have past, I was able to do something in the past. Present, I am able to do something in the present. And future, I will be able to do something in the future. So here, I just want you to give me three ideas, Danita. The past idea with was, I was able to, is the same as could. Okay, so the same recommendation here, Danitza. Don't try to mention something that you regret that you want to change. No, say something that you are reporting, something that you were able to do because you had the ability to do it, or because, I don't know, the environment, the context, or people around you let you do that. All right, so what do you
Mm.
say? One example for each, please.
Yes, I can say that when I was at the university, I was able to attend classes, work at university because I have a scholarship, and also um, I swam, uh, the past of swimming.
Okay, you want to use the past of swimming? It's
Yeah.
swim, swim, swam. If it's a simple past, it's going to be swim, swim.
Swim. Oh,
With A, exactly.
yeah, and I had enough energy to do all those things, and nowadays I don't have the half of that.
Good. Only one detail over there. I think you were using used to, right? And it's going to be the best option. In that case, you don't need to use the past of swim, right? And you can say, right, when I was at the university, right, I was able to do this, and that. Even using be able to can be also used with swim, right? I was able to work, to study, and to
Yes.
go, right? To
I
go
need to
to
use simple the present, ¿verdad? Right?
and more than simple present, the base verb. The base form of the word.
Base. Yes, yes, yes.
Exactly.
Base form. Base
Uh-huh.
form. Yes.
Because if you say that in past, again, if you accommodate that in a certain way, it's good. But in your example, the base form.
Yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes, it's true. Mhm.
All
Okay.
right. Yes. So no worries. Good. That was great. The logic is good. The only correction was that one over there. Great. One in present, please. Something that you're able to do now.
Mm, I am able to fast around 16 hours.
To one more time, please. That the verb was not clear.
Fast, the fasting, like,
Okay. And
yes.
the next part.
Uh, I am able to fast around like, 16 to 18 hours.
Okay. If I'm listening to that word correctly, are you saying the verb to fast as not eating something? Or what's the one? I'm a little bit confused over there.
About the verb?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, the
Because
verb is fast when you don't eat for long periods.
exactly fast, right?
Mhm.
Fast, right?
Mhm.
Okay, good. Then it's okay. All right. Okay. That's impressive actually. Okay, good. The next one, future, please.
Okay. Mm. I will be able to speak German. I had to travel to Europe in the next 2 years. I hope. I will
Okay,
be
good.
able.
I hope so, right? Okay, good. Yes, perfect. I will be able to speak German, right? To travel. So the first one is infinitive for the conjugation, and the next one is infinitive of purpose, right? Because that's the reason why you will be able to do that in the future. So, yes, great. You can say, I hope so as an extra comment, or you have an extra, not an extra, you have another possibility there, Danitza. You can say at the beginning, like, hopefully, right? Hopefully, comma, I will be able to speak German by next year to travel to Europe or to go to Europe, right? In that way, you only say everything in one sentence and you don't need to say another sentence like, I hope so. But that's also an alternative and it's correct. Okay, so the two options is to say, right, I hope so, or I hope that's true. But at the beginning, if you want to say only one sentence, you can say hopefully with a comma and then you keep only one idea. All right, I'm just showing that possibility. But that's it. I don't know if you have any questions about that, about this last part, because with that, we're finishing this presentation. Let me know, please.
No, that's okay. I got it.
All right, good. So let's continue. Again, remember, it's very important that if we can take advantage of the time and we get to finish the presentations to see something extra that is going to help you, that's always going to be good. All right, now this is going to be a short review. And after this short review, Danitza, we are going to practice a little bit. But let's check this first. Okay, it's loading. Let's wait, please, a couple of seconds.
Okay.
All right. So if you remember, we already covered this in a certain way. But Pearson is asking us to see this once again to be sure that we understand the contrast. So this is not actually a presentation showing the simple past and the present perfect, because the simple past is something that we covered before this project. The present perfect is something that we covered a few classes ago. And now, then this is only going to be this chart, Danita. be sure that we understand all the main differences, all right, between these two tenses, and that we use these ones in the right way. I remember that we only got to write one paragraph about the past. So after writing this, we are going to state something in the past. We're going to write another paragraph in the past, but this time I'm going to give you the not a very specific sorry topic, but a general one. All right, but first let's read to understand and to be sure that everything is clear. We're going to start by reading the first, all right, line in this chart. That is this one over here. Let's read it, please. This row.
Okay. Present perfect simple. Unfinished actions that started in the past and continue to the present. I've known Julie for 10 years and still know her. Past simple, finished actions. I knew Julie for 10 years, but then she moved away and we lost touch.
Okay, thank you very much. This is the common thing to use, right, Anita? Unfinished actions for the present perfect, finished actions for the simple past. Okay, that's pretty simple. This is something that we know, but again, if you have questions, please let me know. Let's go to the second one. In the second one, it is related to a question that you had for me when we were seeing the present perfect, right? This is the same question that you were asking, because this is, all right, a summary of many things that we got from many places, and these are the most common differences between the present perfect and the simple past. So let's read now, please, the second row to understand the second difference.
Okay. Present perfect, simple. A finished action in someone's life when the person is still alive, or life experience. My brother has been to Mexico 3 times, and he's still he's breathing. Okay. A finished action in someone's life, a simple. A finished action in someone's life when the person is dead. My great grandmother went to Mexico 3 times.
Okay, good. Now here, Danitza, you don't have to be so radical. I mean, as they are saying this, okay? It's not that if the person is still alive, present perfect. If the person is dead, simple past, right? No, it doesn't have to be like this necessary. But here, the most important thing, Danitza, is the intention that you got. If you want to talk about experience, that to me, that's more important than being alive or dead, all right? It's the experience. If you only want to mention something that you experienced, in this case, that you have experienced, or someone has experienced, present perfect. If you want to mention something that happened, finished, and that's it, simple past. All right. And again, the simple past is always going to give you the option of saying when, of being more specific, and of being clear that if you read all the ideas with the simple past, all of them are finished. So always finished, almost always definite, because you cannot simply say every time the time reference, but it's a good idea to do it. All right. But if you are showing that intention, use the simple past. All right. So again, it's not always that a person is dead or alive, but that's a good reference. And it's a good way to understand when to use the present perfect and when to use the simple past. All right. Let's keep going. Again, if you have questions, you can let me know at any time. If you don't, please, we can start with the next row.
Okay. Present perfect simple. A finished action with a result in the present. I've lost my keys. The result is that I can get into my house now. Past simple. A finished action with no result in the present. I lost my keys yesterday. It was terrible. Now there is no result. I got new keys yesterday. Okay.
Good. So here, the same thing, Anita. It doesn't have to be exactly like this, but what they are showing you is if you use the simple present, right, or the simple present perfect, then this is the possibility. that there is a result in the present. Not always, but again, that's one of the possibilities. And in the simple past, no results in the present. Sometimes you can also see the results, right? But that's not the main idea, and that's not the main usage for the simple past. It is better for finished actions that don't have contact with the present. All right, or at least it's not going to be as influential as it was the present, or as it is actually the present perfect simple. All right, the same idea. It's not as radical, but you can take these, I don't know, right, these elements, these references into account as a range in between you can use the present perfect and the simple past. All right, again, any questions, let me know. If not, let's go to the last row to start with our practice.
Okay. Mm, I have an example here, but as you say, I think it's important to really give context because in my book, I have an example that was something like she has done her homework, for example, and that's all. And the other example was she did her homework. Um,
Exactly. In that, both are correct. You
yeah,
decide which one you want to use, right? And actually, the decision is going to be on the basis on how specific you want to be. And actually, if you only say also she did her homework, that's it. You don't need to say yesterday or 2 days ago. That's not obligatory. All right. But again, it's always the intention that you got, Anita. If you're planning on being more specific, of course, you have to use the simple past, right? Because you can say when she did that action. If you only want to talk about experience, something that she has done, then the present perfect. If you want to show that there's a result in the present about that action, the present perfect, right? If you want to show that that's something that happened and there's no connection with the present, simple past. So yes, as you're saying, the context, and actually more than the, no, I would say the context and your intention. All right, the context and your intention, that's on those two pieces of right of information are going to define which one the best option is going to be. All right, that's going to be it. And as long as you are using a right and a correct grammatical structure, then it's working, right? So again, the two examples are great. You make the decision over there on the basis of those two elements. All right, that's what I comment over there. I don't know if you have any specific questions about that.
no, that's okay.
All right, let's go then to the last row, please, in that answer.
Present perfect with finished time on work this week, this month, today. I've seen John this week with a finished that's simple with a finished time work last week, last month, yesterday. I saw John last week.
All right, thank you very much. The same idea, right? Here they are only adding the extra information of these time references, these time expressions, because the present perfect is good when you have time expressions that feel that have a connection with the present, even though they are finished. But for example, if you say this week, it can be this week, but perhaps it already finished. But the main idea here is that you are using that as a way of saying there's a connection between that action that perhaps finished or not, or we don't know, and today, right? But the simple past is something, again, when you have a definite idea and a definite time expression in the past to say when it finished, in this case, last week, last month, yesterday. All right, so we're going around and around the same idea, but it's just to clarify how these two tenses are used. So that's it. I just have these extra expressions over here that you know. If you want to use the simple past, very easy, right? Definite time expressions that are just a few. Of course, you can give a lot of definite time expressions, but they are on the basis of these four ideas. But in the present perfect, you have a lot of different variations. because this is going to give this nuance, this is going to give these details that are going to make this sentence unique. And again, not definite, but it's related to your experience. And as it is related to your experience, it's interesting to give some details about it. All right. And you know most of them because you already mentioned, if not all of them, most of them, right? We were missing perhaps so far up to now,
Up to now.
but those are the same as recently or up to this point, right? But up to now and so far, actually, they are like synonyms over there, right? It's just like saying up to this point in my life or up to this point in
Mm,
this experience that I'm telling you, this is true, right? But we don't say when, or anything like that. But once again, please, Anita, with this, we're finishing this and we're going to use the extra minutes that we got to practice some writing once again, to include some extra elements. But what do you say? Any questions or comments up to this point?
mm, no, not really. What I know also is that when you want to mention something about a specific experience, something, I don't know, mm, something like travels, you use present perfect, right? If you want to share something as an experience.
Yes, if in that experience you don't want to mention when, exactly. If you just want to say yes, yes, I've been here and here and here, and I've eaten this and that, and we've gone to these places, right? So if you're just telling your experience without any details in time, yes. If you want to mention the number of times, it's also great, right? I've been there 5 times, right? I never get tired of that place, right? Again, as long as you're not going to mention that when, everything
Mhm.
is going to be great about telling that experience in the present perfect. So, yes, not only
When
about
or
trips.
in, right? Yes, it's the same.
One more time, please. I couldn't listen that part.
Or in. Uh, it's the same as when because it's in, I don't know. Yeah, no, it's for example,
All right.
I've been in France in July or in August. So July and June. So it could be right. I have
No, but No, but if you say I've been, remember you say to a place, right? I've been to this place, to this city, to this country. You have to use to in that case, all right? And actually, you cannot say the month over there, right? If you
mm,
say in June, that's now incorrect, at least grammatically speaking. If you say I've been to, for example, I've been to Peru in June, incorrect, right? You can say I've been to Peru many times, right? The last time I was there, simple past, was in June. All right, so it has to be two separate ideas. The first idea that is only your experience in the present perfect, don't say when. Don't say in June. Don't say when. All right. You can say how many times. You can say these variations or these intensifiers or these clarifications like I've already been to Peru, right? For example, but or recently or for or since, right? I've been to Peru for 5 days. But again, you giving extra information to that in terms of specifications in time is going to make the sentence grammatically incorrect. So in order to give an extra clarification about time, Danitza, you first have to finish that sentence and then you have to give clarification of time, but this time you have to use the simple past. All right,
I
that's going
was
to be important. Tell me, Danitza.
I was
I
here is I
was,
was in
it can
or
be, one more time, please, Danitza.
the preposition is in or is to. I was I've been to Peru for 5 days, right?
Uh-huh.
That was the example. And if I want to say this, mention the January of this year, I have to say I was in Peru, to
In.
Peru.
In with the simple, again, that's a rule that actually it doesn't exist in Spanish. All right, that's why in that case you have to memorize that. In the present perfect, you say that you have been to a place. All right, you have been to a place. But in simple past, you were in a place. So you use the real prepositions in the, actually, in all the tenses, you have to use the real preposition. That is in for big places, on, right, for surfaces or more detailed places, or again, on something, inside something, or sorry, it can be also in for inside something. So, and it can change, but it's general in, on, and at if it's more specific. You have to follow that idea for all the tenses, except for the present perfect in the usage of the verb to be. Okay, that's the only exception. For all of the rest of the ideas, it's going to be in, on, at. Only for I've been to a place is going to be applied that to. All right. The rest of them, again, if it's future, present, or past in a different conjugation, it has to be one of the three prepositions that we know. So it's going to be I was in Peru, or you can say, right, one more time with example. I've been to Peru, right, for 5 days,
Yeah.
right? And the last time that I went there, I was right there, or I was in that country, or it was June, right? The last time I was in that country. So you have to use in that case.
So when I need to use to when I am talking in, or I am using the present perfect, that's the idea.
Yes, the present perfect, and for the verb to be referring to a place. Okay, it's one of the exceptions, one of the few exceptions.
Could you give me an example of the last one?
For what last one? The usage of what? Of
Of
in?
two, of two, with
To,
two,
it's
the
only for
present.
places. You can say, right, I've been many times to Brazil, right? Or for 5 years, I've been to, again, you mentioned a city or a country. I've been to Santa Cruz. But again, if you want to say that you were there without saying when, right? I've been to this place. But if you only want to talk about the action of traveling, you can also say travel. And in that case, you follow the same rules that you get for any tense, right? I've traveled to Brazil, right? Many times. Or I've been to Brazil many times. Or right? I've visited Brazil many times. In all those cases, you're following that logic. Of course, for visit, you don't use preposition. For travel, you always use to because you travel to a place, right? So the only exception there, then it says going to be to a place. But mainly, again, when you're talking about your experience of, right, being at that specific place, and only in the present perfect. Okay, but again, only for cities, for countries, for places that you want to say that you visited or that you traveled to. All right, that's going to be the main idea over there.
Okay.
All
This
right,
is the beauty
good.
part,
That's
but
good.
for now, it is good.
Okay, actually, you can try giving me one example using that. As what we're going to do now is going to be this example. We have this now, we have more than 7 minutes. We have the 7 minutes plus 5. Okay, it's going to be, we have 12 minutes. So in these 12 minutes, even less. In 5 minutes, please, Danitza, or 6, you are going to write one more time one paragraph about things that happened in the pandemic for you during the pandemic. It means you can be specific and use the simple past for some of those ideas, or you can tell me your experience by using the present perfect as well. All right, during the pandemic. Now, besides that, I know it can be not real, but you can give me one example using this idea, all right, of being to a place. But remember, it's mainly when you're talking about visiting places as a part of a journey, as a part of a trip. Okay, I've been to this place many times. It means that you traveled to that place, that you visited that place. Okay, if that's your intention, you're going to use I've been to this place. All right. But if not, again, use all the other verbs that you can use that they are going to be the same as in simple past, in simple present, in any other tense. All right. So once again, please, let's write one paragraph in these minutes that we got, and we're going to try to use the simple past and the present perfect according to how you express those ideas. It has to be related to the pandemic. It can be a little bit before, it can be a little bit after the pandemic, but the main ideas have to be during the pandemic. So I don't know if you have questions so that we can start on it. So let me know, please.
No, I don't have questions. I will try to think what I I did at the time.
Okay, let's do it, please. Again, it's up to you how specific you want to be. The same file that we use, please, Danitza. You know where it is, but again, just in case, so that we have the time, I'm sharing the link with you.
Correct. Correct. Didn't
All right, the link is in the chat. Let's do it, please.
Okay.
All right, let's finish that last idea and we check, please.
Mm, okay.
All right, let's do
What
it.
about the During the pandemic emergency, I learned a lot of things about the care of adult people. Oh, I don't know how can I say that. There is a word because my grandmother got sick and I was worried for her health. Fortunately, she got better, and now we're still using the good habits um, that we acquired at the time. Also, I've watched many series in Netflix.
Okay, let's take a look. All right, we have interesting details. And again, I remember now that I'm going to copy and paste this. All right, so let's check. Again, emergency is not necessary here. All right, actually, we're not going to call it like that. If you want an alternative instead of emergency, if you want to talk about the prohibitions, you can talk about the lockdown. All right, but that's
Mm.
optional. All right, if you talk about the lockdown, we know that at that time during the pandemic, it doesn't happen, right, necessarily with the pandemic. But if you talk about the lockdown, it means that you were not able to go out, right? So that's going to be a better alternative. If you say emergency, again, it's going to be good, but we know that the pandemic includes, right, a status of emergency. So it's not necessary. All right. Then
Yeah.
here it's good. Learned has this possibility. I don't know why they are changing that. No, it's good. Learned with the T is another possibility, so it's good. I'm not going to follow the recommendation of Grammarly there. So I learned a lot of things about this is an important rule here, Danitza. The rule says that after all prepositions, about is a preposition, we always use gerund. Okay, always, 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 always. So it is going to be taking. All right, always taking. Any action that you want to say after a preposition has to be with ing 100% of the time. Okay, of course you can say a noun, right? A lot of things about music, for example, then that's correct. But if you say an activity, always ing. So I learned a lot of things about taking care of adult people. All right, what do you mean when you say adult people? What are the ages of that group?
50 to 70, 80.
Okay, it's not all elderly, but you can say this. All right.
Elderly, yes, that's
Uh-huh.
good.
Exactly. It's going to be better because if you say adults, adults are 18, 21, right? It can be a very big population. But elderly is going to be more specific. Okay, so instead of this, you will say about taking care of elderly or the elderly. All right. Now here, you don't need comma. All right, I'm going to write it like that because because is in the middle, and when because is in the middle, we don't use commas over there. All right, no
Mm.
comma because my grandmother got sick, and here we need a comma. Why? Because it's complete idea. My grandmother got sick, comma, and I. Okay, so those are two complete ideas, and we have a family in the middle. All right. Again, perhaps now because of the time that it's, I'm not going to be able to explain all these details. I'm going to ask you only one question, but if you get to have more questions, please write those questions so that you can ask them, all right, on Monday. All
Okay.
right, but at least one, the most important question you're going to ask me. Then I was so worried for her health. All right. To be worried for or about, it's going to be an alternative, and that's not going to be marked. Fortunately, yes, she got better. And now this is one more time, the same idea. Why? Because here is she and here is we. So we need to
Mm,
divide this.
mm,
Mhm. And now, and this is an alternative, okay? It's not obligatory, uh, but you can use commas over there if you want to be very, very specific. Why? Because now is not your, now is not your, let's say, subject, your main subject, it is your introductory phrase. So these are alternative commas. We still, if you say we're still using, right, that's not correct. You need a verb. We are still using. Okay, we're still using the good habits that acquired. If you say acquired and you say that, no, and because I think Google thinks that you're talking about the habits, but no, you're talking about you doing this action. So we're going to say that we acquired.
Yes, we acquired. Yes, I was thinking about just
Exactly. Okay, at that time. Also, I remember always the
watch.
past participle. Uh-huh. And remember for social network and these places in which you watch series, on that place.
Okay.
All right, on Netflix, on Facebook, on Instagram, on HBO Max, on this and that. That's it. Now, please, one question, only one, and then the rest, please, is going to be for Monday.
I think I don't have specific questions about this. The commas, there are something that I need to manage and think when uh, the sentence is finished. Just
Okay,
or is it
good.
complete idea? Yeah.
It means that you're going to have an extra homework. Actually, it's not going to be a homework, but it's going to be something that you have to read. In the present, yes, in Google, on Google Classroom, in the section of Google Classwork, courses, information, and contact, here you have this. Let me mark it for you. Danitza. It says punctuation marks. Please read it. Don't read everything. Just read in this presentation. Just read the part of commas and read this presentation that is very short. This is not actually a presentation. This is a short document about fanboys. Okay, read those two, please. And following those logics on Mondays, we're going to cover an extra lesson that is going to be punctuation marks and commas so that you know that very well in detail when to use and when not to use a comma. All right?
Okay. Where is the those documents? Where are those? I can.
Remember, you have to go to Google Classroom, that's our
Yes.
platform, the section of classwork, and the first section. In the first section, you have punctuation marks.
Mm, mm,
Here, right? It has to be here.
Oh yes, I guess that. Yes,
You got it?
I got. Yes, I got.
Okay, very good. So that's extra. Let's do it, please. Now, we're finishing. As always, Nanitza, I'm sharing the poll with you. Let's answer to that. Thanks for being in today's class. I hope you enjoy your weekend. All right, go dancing, have fun, and I'll see you on Monday.
Yes, I'm close. Close for you.
Yes, yes, you can say, right? Same for you, same or likewise, or something like that.
Likewise sounds better. Likewise, I need to say
Okay,
likewise for you, or just like uh,
no,
like.
likewise, only likewise, or you too, right? You can say informally you too, same to you, or likewise, just
Yeah,
likewise. Mhm.
yeah, likewise.
Great. Bye bye. Good night. See you, man.
Bye bye. See you.